Here we go. It's time for another sprint zone. And it's been a while because my camera hadn't been working all that well. So we're starting a little bit early today because there was apparently a discussion about the safety of the sprint zone into the S corners around Dead Man Lake. So we had talked about this the week before, and it was decided that for those who didn't wish to participate in that exercise, and if they feared for their safety, they didn't need to. But apparently, on today's ride, a different decision was made. And Matthew, Michaels, and myself, we made the ride in the beginning, but nobody maybe saw us tacking onto the back, and no one decided to inform us of this decision. So I'll try to say this in an avuncular tone. There's no entitlement to be able to sit in on the sprint zone, and people should be comfortable with the risk that they are in fact taking. We've been doing this route probably for like 6 years, and I know the sentiment is that it's gotten faster, and I'm not certain if that's actually true because most people have not been using that S-turn as a springboard. That being said, I've got data probably back to 2018, etc., maybe some videos that have some information there. Regardless, so apparently the rules of engagement have been changed. In the past, this was referred to, and I call this as the weapons-free zone, where it allowed people to stretch their legs and do whatever they want, which there's an emphasis on basically do whatever you want. But the assumption here is that it's a sprint zone and people are supposed to stay together and there's an entitlement to be able to sit in. Now, I agree that we want to make this safe. And up until this point, I don't think anybody has tried to leverage those technical corners for advantage. Those corners come about a mile into this ride, which it's only a 4 mile sprint, so it takes a little bit. So anyway, so we're into the sprint zone, and there is Matthew Michaels, and he had checked out before. So I was going to make certain that this is not going to happen again. So I think there was some yelling by Dean or something like that. Hey, 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 wait, hey, what are you guys doing? You know, well, since no one took the time to inform us of this, and for the aforementioned statement that I just made, we're off. But this was not really an attack. An attack is what we witnessed before in one of the previous videos when Matthew went so hard nobody could get on his wheel. But as you can see, Matthew's kind of chilling up there. I've got good wattage sitting in behind him, but this is nothing crazy. And of course, for those who in fact decided that their safety was in jeopardy, they can sit back and do whatever they want. However, it seems like people have something attached to their ego about being dropped or whatever, where the ability to hang on to the end is like a big deal. And it's a worthy goal to be able to sit in. But if your standards are you fear for your safety, stick to that and let others do what they want. Like I said, it's a weapons-free zone. So we're looking back and we see that the chase is somewhat on. I'm like, okay. At this point, Matthew Michaels and I didn't have any idea that there had been some sort of like basically mutiny as far as my earlier statement that we would start later on. But Byron, and I'm certain that the strongmen really didn't want to participate in that decision since it's a matter of also increasing one's skill set. And I'll digress here. So a lot of people in this group have gotten stronger than their skill sets suggest. And I would suggest going out and doing some cornering drills and some safety stuff, which would be good. That being said, Byron, and this must have been a pretty heroic effort to pull us in. So here Dean attacks. And this is exactly the kind of behavior, trying to get advantage here, that I would consider somewhat dangerous because people are going to try to follow it. I don't know if Dean was upset because we violated what was stated before. I don't recall if he was there before when we made this, but in any case, I tried to get Matthew to don't go with him, whatever. So there's a little bit of sand here. This was called out. But we always know that Dean is just going to die. So But we went into that pretty hard. If people are totally and truly really concerned for their safety, that should not be the behavior trying to get advantage there or attacking into that, because there's plenty of places to actually just work on your strength. Love you, Dean, but that was questionable. We'll have to chat about this. In any case, it looks like the selection is pretty much made. Those that fear for their safety, they can stay back there, and I'm all good with that. So we've got Byron and Matthew Michaels up front, and we are like kicking it. And if you see some of the wattages here, I was thinking that I was trying to save myself for short track later on, and I didn't want to extend myself. But it was pretty much, I was pretty much on the rivet this whole time, behind the big engines, and as much as I would have liked to contribute, there's really not much I could have done for more than 2 or 3 milliseconds to hold that pace. So we pick up Blair on the road, and he is going to join us. As you can see, Matthew has been out front ever since the beginning, right? We caught Dean and went right by him. And of course, Byron being the big engine. So I'm in the sweet spot here. And there's a headwind. So look at the speed, though. Even though it says that it's 23, 22 miles an hour, it's not fast. There is a stiff headwind, almost like dead on. And this is allowing people to get and stay in contact more, because everybody knows if you want to attack, it's uphill with a tailwind. Unless you can get a gap and you're super strong, the headwind isn't going to help you if those are strong enough to sit in. So my wattage is fluctuating, from the high 100s up to 300 sometimes in there, and this is work. And I think my heart rate's wrong. I think the 157 is just like not correct. I don't know what's going on with that heart rate monitor. I may have to write Garmin, send them some telemetry or whatever. But regardless, so my cadence is good. Still thinking to myself, I'm trying to save myself for short track tonight, and I do not want to extend myself. But I'm in the melee. I got the camera, and I'm here. Kerry back there got his cat ears, and it looks like, yep, this is going to be the selection here. We got Kerry. It looks like Joel, Scott, Blair, and somebody else back there. Maybe Marcelo or somebody. I don't know. I can't really tell. So as you can see, this little riser, somebody punched it, and I think the amount of wattage, I'm over 400 watts sitting in just to stay in contention with the big men up front. Yeah, this is an impressive show by Matthew Michaels, who has qualified like 15th in the world for the half Ironman championships, which is most impressive. And to see his transformation from basically, and I'll use this term, fat to fit, is just impressive. Just, I don't know, I can't say enough about him. So monster pull, over a mile at some serious wattage, probably 380 watts or so. Well done. And he's going to attack in the back, and you can see like a pretty nice little slight echelon, and people are just a ramming and a thumping. And at this point, like, no one has any thoughts about going to the front. I mean, Byron's up front now, and he's like drilling it. I mean, look at my wattage, the mid 200s, and I'm sitting in. Like, what the heck? So now my heart rate's up to 180. I don't know if that's right, but it certainly felt like that's the kind of effort that I was putting out at this point, just to try to stay in contention. And as I mentioned, like, no one is thinking about going around. I mean, everybody is like tightly tucked in. And Byron, the big man, like, I'd like to say he was the Cat 3, is the Cat 3, and he points out that he was a Cat 3 and hasn't raced in a long time, but damn, homeboy is strong. So my heart rate's going down to 177. I'll buy that possibly, but look at those wattages. Sitting in at 280, 300, 350, and there's a 400 in there. Now at the time I wasn't really looking at my statistics because I was more concerned with safety and looking up the road. I rarely look at my telemetry, except maybe if I'm in the front, just kind of meter my effort to see what's going on, if it's worth the cost. But looking at the heart rate, starting to move down to 166, which is my normal, like, happy, probably sub VO2 max limit. So Byron pulls over looking to see if anybody's going to come around. No one's going to come around that. And here we go. Nice little surge here. Matthew Michaels goes to the front. And this is, we got to dig deep here. I saw like 500 watts for like a second or two in there. Byron digs deep to come on. And this could be the winning move. And like being on the rivet and still trying to save myself for short track and still like, okay, at some point threw all that out the window because we just want to be there. I had to dig super deep to stay in contact here, as I'm certain did everyone else. But that was a sweet move. I'm going to say that Matthew was probably the only one in this group that, well, maybe Carey would have had the ability to drive like that hard. And we can see somebody is shelled back there, not certain who that is. But it looks like we have the final selection. It looks like Curtis, yes. And Scott and obviously Carey. Nice cat ears, I like that. I got some of those too. Mine aren't working all that well. I got to figure out like how to get them to stick closer to my face. So here we go. Up near the end, Carey decides it is time to pull himself around me at least and stay in contention. And there goes Blair. Nice move. Byron easily able to cover that. There goes Carey. Matthew, who's done like I'll say the lion's share, or at least half the lion's share on this. Super impressive to be able to just dig down deep and stay in contention. I'm still here, but you know, hanging on by like a raggedy thread and have got nothing here. So Byron driving it over the top. Matthew's too far back at this point to go around him or to make a surge, and with the amount of effort that he's put out, I am certain that he is deep into W prime debt. At this point, I'm like, okay, I don't care what I get. I'll just kind of cruise over the top. I got some good film of it. There goes Curtis, signals that he wants in. There goes Scott. And you know it's fast. You know it's fast when Curtis didn't make it to the front. And I didn't make it to the front. And Carey didn't really make it to the front till the end. Anyway, that was really good. I enjoyed that immensely. And I did have enough for short track, so I'll probably like do this again next Tuesday. And I'm super happy that my camera worked for once. Not certain why it recorded this time, although it did stop a little early. But super happy. And I think a good time was had by all. More discussion to come on the safety of and expectations of the sprint zone. All right, guys. Peace out.